Founded in 1935 by George Gallup, the company became well known for its public opinion polls, which were conducted worldwide. In 1988, Gallup was acquired by Selection Research Incorporated, or SRI, a Lincoln-based firm started by Don Clifton.
I'm definitely most proud of our culture. And I didn't start the culture. I mean, the culture's been around forever, 1935, but especially what Selection Research brought to the table in the late 60s and early 70s.
Clifton, a psychologist by profession, focused on why successful people excelled and developed an online assessment called Clifton Strengths.
A big part of our company is the Strengths Finder that we call Clifton Strengths. It started on the University of Nebraska campus, but we've always dreamed of, could you ever make America a strengths-based nation where people focused on their strengths? Strengths develop faster than trying to fix weaknesses is basically was Dad's theory.
Jane Miller dedicated her career to unlocking employees' potential and fostering their future growth by revamping workplace culture.
I've maximized and I've multiplied the culture through the people we hire, how we train, how we develop, and really most importantly through the manager network we have literally around the world. But when you have a strong culture, it creates a trust and a loyalty that's immeasurable. And at the end of the day, when employees can see a consistency and a predictability in how things get done, why they get done, and how decisions are made, they trust leadership. They respect leadership.
Miller recently retired as president and chief operating officer of Gallup. She played a key role in shaping the company's focus on employee potential and growth. She oversaw worldwide operations, ensuring alignment to the goals of Gallup.
I made a strong statement early on from an operational standpoint when people would say, but we don't do it this way in this country. We do it this way. We're not like an American. I said, we're a company culture, not a country culture. And really what that did was help people lift up 2 or 3 notches to say, we're something bigger as a global organization to what we represent in the mission and values of the Gallup organization, so that you're thinking about things at a very different level.
Gallup expanded beyond public opinion polls, entering the management consulting business. Jim Clifton led the company as CEO from 1988 to 2022 and expanded from a predominantly US-based company to a worldwide organization with offices in 20 countries and regions.
I think what I'm most proud of is that for the business people in the room tonight, is that you can't really have a company with just an idea. You can't just have a company with technology and research, and I love all of them. You can't have a company until you go find somebody that really wants and values what you do, and that's called a customer. And my job as CEO, I was CEO for 33 years, now I'm only chairman, but my main job was creating customers.
An innovator, he created the Gallup Path, a metric-based economic model establishing linkages among human nature in the workplace.
I'm sure we changed the very way that America goes to work. I think we changed America well-being. I'm sure that's our research team's game ball.
Another of his innovations, the Gallup World Poll, gave voice to citizens on key global issues.
There's a question, could sampling frames, could a technology be built where we know what the whole world is thinking on certain issues? Because if we did, leaders could make better decisions, not just for their countries, but also for the whole world. There's something that I think most people are familiar with called SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And those are the markers that the whole world, so when you read what percent of the world is hungry, that's actually a Gallup gauged number. And so we have a handful of those in the SDGs, then we have 50 of our own. And so leaders all over the world access our data and read our data literally every day.
In 2015, the Clifton Foundation provided a $30 million gift to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln to establish the Don Clifton Strengths Institute.
Part of Jane and Jim's legacy is the creation of the Clifton Strengths Institute within the College of Business. And what's unique about that is all of our incoming freshmen take the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which identifies their top 5 strengths out of the 34 potential strengths. And then we train 80 strengths coaches, which are upperclassmen, to coach our incoming freshmen. And so they spend 2 one-hour sessions coaching the students around those 5 strengths. And that's really unique to the College of Business and, quite frankly, relative to other universities around the country.
Both Jim and Jane have received many honors and accolades for their work and philanthropy.
Giving back as an organization or as an individual is just the right thing to do. And I think that the only way a community can get better is through strong businesses, thriving businesses, being a part of that community. I'm sure Nebraskans work harder than other people. Nebraskans are a very unusual tribe of people. I think that we take a lot of pride in our word. Think how much that separates us from every other state. Nebraskans can pull off about anything, and I think our company proved that.
Jim Clifton and Jane Miller should be inducted into the Nebraska Business Hall of Fame on the basis of their leadership, of Gallup, and of the Gallup organization over the last number of decades, and through their contributions, they have been exemplary leaders in business through the Gallup organization.
Yet another Nebraska company that proves you can do business in Nebraska all over the world and be incredibly influential. So I'm going to invite Jim and Jane both up at this point. Governor, would you do the duties? And Kathy?
Thank you, Governor Pillen, and thank you, Brian, Ryan, Scott, Kathy, Roberta, and the entire committee. And congratulations to the other honorees and your families. Your beloved Nebraska products and brands truly represent the good life. This is a very meaningful honor to me because I love everything about this state and I love everything about business. We are so fortunate to be in a pro-business state. There really is no better place to employ highly talented people with a strong work ethic. Our state is also regarded as unusually generous when it comes to public-private funding and philanthropy, which is a definite strength we need to continue to cultivate throughout the entire state. And according to Gallup, the pinnacle of well-being is being involved in your community. I'd briefly like to thank a few thousand people if we have time. Just a joke, kind of. I have immense gratitude and appreciation for Gallup's associates and clients. Gallup wouldn't be possible without the 1,200 highly engaged global associates who bring their strengths to work every single day to retain and grow Gallup's thousands of clients around the world. And maybe the most important part is that 600 of them live and work right here in Nebraska. And in case you're wondering, they're remote, they're hybrid, and they're asynchronous between their homes and between the riverfront. I'd also like to thank our sisters, Dr. Mary Reckmeyer, who's a best-selling author. She sold Gallup has sold 1.3 million kids' books for How Full Is Your Bucket? She was also the principal of Gallup's on-site Child Development Center. And if I could just put a little bit of a plug in, I had this quick conversation with Pete about it as well, and Krieger spent a ton of time on it. There is nothing more important right now in this economy to either have an on-site child care center or to be affiliated with an on-site child care center for your moms and dads. It'll get the moms and dads back to work that maybe had to jump out during COVID and for other reasons. And to our oldest sister, Dr. Connie Rath, who's in charge of the Clifton Strengths Institute, that have helped almost 10,000 UNL students discover their strengths, many of which have had coaching and will become better future leaders within business all over the world. And thank you to our brother from another mother, Jim Krieger, our Chief Financial Officer. The two of us couldn't have done it without you. You've been absolutely tremendous. I'm also eternally grateful to our parents. They really did provide a foundation of strengths, just like everything Dad invented. from right fit to unconditional love, and I think that they would be proud that we made it 50 years working together as 4 siblings. And I have way too many favorite quotes of Dad's, but one of my favorites was that Nebraska is a suburb of the world, and there is no better place to raise a family and have a business. And that was so true for us. We're proud to have taken Nebraska to the world in over 30 countries while bringing tens of thousands of clients, learning participants, and employees home to Nebraska for the last 4 decades. And last and most importantly, thank you, Ed, Meredith, and Alec, for putting up with my intense strengths of belief, maximizer, and focus. We love that you're living the dream in Kearney and Sumner in agribusiness and ranching and teaching as a kindergarten teacher. And just a little bit of a plug, District 44, their mother-in-law is Senator Ibaugh. So hi, wherever you are. But thank you again for this very meaningful honor. There really is no place like Nebraska for business. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't negotiate any time. I wasn't sure if that. There's nobody else to thank. I was sitting here, Brian, thinking about the purpose of the chamber. We probably have 800 capitalists in this room. It's not very often that you walk into a place and can feel this kind of energy. But I was thinking, what's the purpose of a chamber? Somebody's got to spend some time. They got to get up in the morning. And they got to think about building businesses. And we have a bunch of really good employees and leaders, and we did all that stuff. But I was sitting over here thinking about the breaks that we got from this community. And, we also need to I've been looking about where the origin of economic energy is, when somebody starts a business. Nowhere else, not when a big business buys another one. But there are some communities where pound for pound more people start businesses. But I was just thinking about a couple of events. So you highlighted Don Clifton there. He's just an associate professor on campus, and a guy named Clifford Harden. You got him? You got a fix on Clifford Harden? He by the way, Jim, there should be a 300-foot statue of him, because he picked Bob Devaney and Tom Osborne, but he had a good eye. But so Dad had been selecting ROTC students, and Cliff Harden, this is that moment when a business starts. Dad didn't have any idea that you could ever have a business. I said to him one time, and he says, well, Chancellor Harden called me in, and he said, can you select insurance salesmen? I mean, when businesses start, it's really messy and all that. And he said, well, we try it. And so then we built some tests and all that kind of thing. This one he started doing the tests, and he figured it out. Selling whole life insurance policies is nearly impossible anyway, but he did it. And Harden called him in and said to him, do you think you could do your ROTC student for the insurance? But that's what started it, and that what gave him his idea. Because I was sitting there thinking, what if Harden never would have called him in? Then none of this is here. Jane's not here. But so Dad did his job right, but it took that one guy to pull a trigger. I'll just tell you one more thing, too, because it made a lot of difference for me, but we didn't have enough money to start a market research company. So another guy and I were kind of down about that. We didn't have any idea, but like Dad, we couldn't form the thought maybe you could start a business, and that's where you need some help. And that's where, when you have bankers around and you have other people and you have mentors, it makes a lot of difference. And so anyway, his name was, anybody got a fix on Jim Carrey? Why do you laugh? Do you know him? But anyway, so he seemed really old. He was 50, I bet. And so I think this guy and I are maybe 24 or 25. He was an angel to us. One of them, I don't know how I could have met him. His son's actually Bob Carey. Jim, his dad's like 100 times more likable than Bob. But he took us up to the bank, and we borrowed $5,000, and he taught us in kind of a day how to start a business. That guy and I aren't particularly talented, But you think about the importance of communities and other leaders that come around. Dad did a pretty good job, figured something out, had a great day where a masterpiece came out of his body called StrengthsFinder, that is changing the world. But it's somebody else that pulls that trigger. But I was thinking about, that's what we got to do, especially as Americans right now. And we're falling behind in business building. You know, young kids are doing a lot of things. I think they'll be fine, but they don't start businesses. But I think that we could help them a lot. I think we could be Jim Carreys, and I think we can be Cliff Hardens. I don't think it's that hard to fix this if we spend a little time sitting kids down saying, what can you build, rather than what you can cancel. But this award means a lot to me, and it means a lot to all our people from Gallup, so thank you.